Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Keeping Fish Simple. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about the 5 best Corydoras for beginners. Now, Corydoras, there's thousands of them. There's actually like so many different types of Corydoras you can get. In the wild, there's just so many ridiculous, there's a lot of Corydoras in the Amazon. Basically, this video is going to be aimed at beginners who want to pick out the easiest Corydoras to take care of, and also what I would recommend to a beginner who's delving into the whole Corydoras world, because most of the time when you get an aquarium, you buy guppies or neon tetras or something like that, and then the Corydoras kind of come after, because what will happen is people will have that tank and they'll be looking on the weekend or something like that to add something to the tank, and it'll be a Corydoras. So basically in today's video, I'm going to give you guys 5 really good beginner Corydoras that are easy to take care of, basically are bulletproof in my opinion, and I'm going to give you some quick information about each one of these Corydoras. So make sure you stay around to the end of the video to get all of the info, and without any further ado, let's get started. So number 5 on my list is going to be the Corydoras similis. So this can also be called the smudge spot Cory. These guys are a super good beginner Corydora in my opinion. Reasons being that I've actually had these guys in tanks where I've accidentally nuked the whole tank, had a big ammonia spike or something like that. And these guys did not suffer a single loss despite losing all of the other fish in the tank, which is very sad. I mean, I'll admit that I've made mistakes as a fish keeper, and I'm never afraid to admit that. But these guys, I can tell you from personal experience, are very easy to take care of. Now, I don't know the availability of these guys in certain areas. They can be a little bit more pricey than some of your other types of Corys, so your albinos and bronze, which we'll talk about later on. These guys can be a little bit more pricey, but they are very beautiful. Now, these guys also have that leopard kind of spotting on their body. But the reason they're called a smudge spot Cory is because at the back of their tail they have a smudge, which is actually a violet color. So I don't really often see violet colors on fish, and that's what makes this fish unique. So these guys will have that. They stay pretty small. They're not a huge Corydora. They get about, I'd say, 3 inches max. They're not a big Cory at all, and that's when they're adults. So I'd recommend getting 6 of these guys in a school. You don't really want to get under that, because otherwise they will become a little bit nervous, and that goes for all of your Corydoras in this video. You want to keep at least a school of 6 of these guys in a 20-gallon tank, and that's what I recommend, because you're going to see them interact and behave properly, and they're not going to get nervous or anything like that, and you won't have any stress deaths. But I've noticed behaviorally are one of the more nervous Corydoras, so you're definitely going to want some dither fish in the aquarium, maybe some neons like I said above, or some little mini rasboras or something like that, and they're going to absolutely love it because they'll think it's all okay to come out, and they're not going to be scared. So some dither fish won't go astray, but these guys, number 5 on my list, a beautiful Corydora, is a Corydoras similis. And then number 4 on my list is going to be the bandit Cory. So this can also be called the Corydoras metae. These guys are a new pickup for me. I actually haven't had these guys for very long, but I can tell you from personal experience, these guys are also very easy to take care of. I'm just going to give you guys a quick disclaimer. All the Corys in this video are going to love softer water, so you don't want any African cichlid water. You're going to want pretty soft Amazonian water. These guys are very similar to the panda Corydora. They look very similar. A lot of people think they are the same. They're not. They've got different markings, and basically that's what makes them different. But these guys look very cool. They look like a bandit, which is how they got their name. In a group of 6 of these guys, they do have some pretty cool behaviors, but they're not anything super outstanding. These guys aren't that skittish from my experience and me keeping these guys for the past month or so. They're not like the similis Corydoras, which I was talking about before. They are a little bit more outgoing. They get around the aquarium a bit more, and absolutely love things like tubifex worms or black worms and stuff like that, or some little blood worms and things like that. They absolutely love, but very easy to take care of. I'd recommend this for someone who's looking to get their second type of Corydoras, so I'd maybe start with an albino Cory first, and then I go to this one, because this one can be a little bit more pricey and something that you don't want to make a big mistake on, because it can be sad for you, it can be sad for the fish and your bank account and everything like that. So I'd recommend trying a super bulletproof Cory before this one, but these ones are also easy to take care of and a great next step for a lot of you beginners. And then number 3 on my list is going to be the trilineatus Corydora. So these guys can also be mistaken as a Julii Cory, which I've made the mistake before as well. I bought these guys from the store thinking they were Juliis. They aren't. I'm going to flash up a picture of a Julii here and a trilineatus here. They have a little bit of a different marking, but pretty much look the same. So these guys are called the false Julii. Again, super easy to take care of. They're in that middle bracket, so they're not crazy expensive. They're more on the cheaper side, but I can't really tell you the price of Corydoras because they're different everywhere. But They're in that medium range. They're not as expensive as some other ones, but they're more expensive than like an aeneus or something like that. Super easy to take care of. I haven't had any trouble with these guys whatsoever caring for them. They're super easy to take care of. Another thing is too, these guys, once they get a bit older, if you chuck like a spawning mop in the aquarium, they go like ballistic and they start to breed in it and everything like that. So super easy Cory to breed as well. And they pretty much breed by themselves if you have them in like a tank with maybe some little neon tetras or something like that. They'll probably be breeding in like a big community tank, but you won't be able to see the eggs because they normally get eaten straight away. So very cool Corydoras. They look really cool. One of my favorite Corydoras, in fact. All of these Corydoras in this video stay very small, so these guys aren't an exception. They get maybe 2 or 3 inches. Not big at all. You definitely want a school of over 6 for these guys, and they're gonna absolutely thank you for it. And then number 2 on my list is gonna be the albino / bronze Cory. So these guys are the Corydoras aeneus. The reason I've made like a slash is because they're basically the same fish. They just have different markings. So there's a bronze type and then there's like an albino type, and they look very similar. These guys are probably the easiest one to take care of on this list. They're super bulletproof. They breed like crazy. But the reason I put them at second is because, in my opinion, they look boring. The albino ones kind of look a bit freaky. The bronze ones don't look that crazy cool, but definitely the best beginner one. But the reason I put them at 2 is just because they don't look as cool as my number 1. So these guys, the care goes the same as all these other ones. They're probably the easiest one, and if you guys have never played with Corydoras before, I would get like a albino Cory because they're cheap. These are definitely like the cheapest Corydoras you can buy on the market pretty much anywhere. You shouldn't be paying more than $5 for each one of these Corydoras. Eat pretty much anything, tropical flakes, pellets, bloodworms, you name it, they'll eat it. And in their own time, they start to breed. So if you can put them in an aquarium by themselves, you can breed them up, and super fun fish to keep. And then number 1 on my list is gonna be the panda Cory. So these guys are very easy to take care of. They can be a little bit more timid than some of the other fish on this list. So the aeneus and stuff like that will not be timid. They come out quite frequently. But these guys are a bit more relaxed. They're very similar to the bandit Cory. They kind of like are a little bit more timid, but they're not like as timid as like a smudge spot or something like that. Definitely one of the best beginner Corys. The care is the same as the aeneus. They're pretty much as bulletproof as albinos and bronze Corydoras. But these guys look cooler in my opinion. They're really cute. They actually stay very small. These guys are probably the smallest Corys on this list. And a school of like 6 to 8 of these guys is really good in a 20-gallon aquarium. They look super cool. They definitely look a lot cooler than the albino Corys, just in my opinion. You don't have to go rage at me in the comments. Everyone's opinion is going to be different on which Cory looks the best, but these guys win it for me. They're number 1 on my list because they're cute, easy to take care of, will take pretty much any kind of foods that you give them, flakes, pellets, you name it, they'll take it. And that's basically it for these guys. One last thing before this video ends, I'm going to mention is all of these Corys will absolutely love you if you put some sand down the bottom of the aquarium, because most of the day they'll go through it and try and find little pieces of food and stuff like that, and they're going to feel most comfortable in a tank with some sand. So that's pretty much going to be it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.